Hello everybody! Today we're going to do finish up the cover and the inside. Hopefully we'll get through the first couple parts of the very first page. Just like I said, I've only got 15 minutes per video, so try to get as much done as I can. So the only thing you probably didn't see from the last one is I added this little bird up here. And it was just a little embellishment that I had, and I put on the knob. And to put on the knob from the Tim Holtz, it's just a screw. So you make a hole, a little punch, put the little screw through and put it on. It's easy and it's real sturdy. I like it. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to try to get this page done and these two pages done for sure. And then if I have time, I have a couple of quick little tutorials for you to get ready for the next day when we start working on the next day. I'm going to take these out so they don't get in my way. Put them off to the side. So take this off for now. See, this all comes off and it's just set it off to the side. Okay, so for this page I was going to do, I was thinking about this and this one for the corner pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these and get these all ready to go. And these are the pages that are 6 by 6. So what we want to do is do just a little bit smaller. So maybe 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. And then put some tape on them. And I already messed up because I forgot to do this. I'm going to distress all the edges all the way around. And I know there's tape on the back, but at least it's not right on the edge. I'll do this over the trash can so I don't make a mess everywhere. One of the things that I always try to do is have templates for pieces in my books that I'm going to have to make repeats a lot of. And so like my tags, I have templates for the paper for my tags. I have templates also for my corner pockets and for a lot of these things in here, because all these pockets right here can be kind of a pain to cut the paper. So I have templates for all that stuff so I don't have to work so hard at getting it to fit together. Saves time for you to watch too. So we're just going to attach this on. And then the corner pocket, like I said, I have a template. This is it. And I'm going to be using this paper for my corner. So I just take my pencil and if I could find my pencil. Well, I won't use it. I'm just going to cut it along. If I had my pencil, I would have just drawn a line straight down the side of my template and then just cut it on my cutter so it's nice and even and straight. But luckily I have a cutter that has a little guide on it, so I can do it without having to write it down. And then same thing again, I stressing out the edges on this one. And I haven't used any of the ink yet on the edges because I was just going to do it all at the same time. So just rough them up. This is one of my favorite tools, but I would really love to have one of those ones that's plugs in and not quite so much work. So for this, I want my edges to be distressed with the ink. This is the tea dye ink. I'm still using the same ink probably throughout the whole thing. I don't know if I'll change it up or not yet because I haven't really planned it out. But for this for sure. And then we're gonna use the tape. And fit it right into the middle. There. See? It's already looking nice. And then on the outside of it, I'll probably decorate the outside before I attach it just to make it easier for myself. I picked a flower that I want to put on here. This is the flower that I'm going to put. And with this flower, I'm going to use one of my little brads to hold it together that has a little, it's like a little shiny diamond in the middle. And give it a little bit of glittery glue. This book is, all this paper, all this stuff, it's supposed to be like all antique print, antique sewing things, so that's why I'm roughing all this stuff up because I want it to really go together well. Once you make your flowers the way that I did it yesterday, they're a little bit rough. They're kind of hard. So if you try to put your little brad through it without making a hole first, you'll bend it. These aren't strong enough, I guess. And there it is. So I was going to put this one on, my little sticky dot. I think I'm going to put this one here. And then I have this little, this came out of that printing set that I have, that I've been using parts of. I thought this would look cute here. Kind of matches my paper. And then I can stamp something in there. I don't know what yet, but I'll figure that out when we get to it. And I'm going to do the edges of my book. Hopefully I'm in the shot. I want my spine to be done too. There. Perfect. Then we take these and just on the very edges of your, if you bought the blank book, all of these came all cut and ready to go, and there you just put the tape right on that only. That's the only place it goes. And then you find your spot where you want it. And if you did buy the book, you can see on the paper that I included with it, I gave you, possible positions for these, for all your pockets and where your photo mats could go. But one of the good things about this book is you can change it up whatever way you want. So if you don't want it that way, you can move it wherever you want to move it to, which is what I did already. Okay, so the middle page here, put that one out. The base of that page is going to be this right here. And this one, I put the size on here. And if you bought the book, that's the size it's going to be. And it's 5.5 by 5 7/8. So once again, we're going to cut it a little bit less. So you just go one line lower. there that one is. See, that'll fit in there right there nicely. And again, I'm going to rough it up, distress the edges. I like to use a lot of like antique, vintage photos and ads and things. I spend a lot of time on my computer looking up things to print out to use in my books, because I just really love all these. And so I'm gonna, any ones that I use in the book while we're going through this tutorial, I'm gonna try to keep them on my blog under the part that says free tutorials. There's also going to be the stuff that you can print out. So there'll be a lot of other things on there besides the tutorial part. So if you need or want any of the images that you see here while we're making this book, you can just go ahead and go on there and just print them off to your heart's content. They're all free. You can get them on the internet if you wanted to search for them, or you can just go there and get them. And there'll be a lot more. I'll add a lot more to them as time goes by. Especially when the holidays come up, because I have some really, really cute ones for Halloween and for Christmas and postcards and all kinds of stuff. And it's just, the ideas are swimming around in my head already. I have a whole book full of things, ideas for different books and tags and tutorials, and I don't know how I get any sleep. Okay, so here's your middle piece. And try to make sure when you put it on that you don't go over your lines for where it's going to bend the pages, or else you will ruin that paper very quickly that you adhere to the page, because it'll just lift right off and crinkle up and look terrible. There. So there's that one. And I forgot to do my edges before I attached it. That's easy to fix. And I'm running out of time for this video, so I want to just do one quick tutorial, and then the next video will finish where we're at. But I wanted to show you, this is one of the images that I'm going to be using in my book here. And this is the way it looks when I print it out on the printer. Really nice, it's cute, I like it, but I like my things looking old and beat up. So this is what I do to it in order to make it look more vintage. And this will be different every single time. And I'm going to show you how to do this real quick before the end of this video. So I'm a coffee drinker, and I have one of those single cup coffee makers, and I just afterwards, after I get my morning cup, I let it sit and kind of dry out a little bit and obviously cool off, and then I'll open it up, the little cup thing, and I'll stick it in here. And what you do with this is you just take your paper and you stick it in there and you rub it around. And normally I would be doing this over the sink because it makes a big mess this way, and this one may have dried out a little bit too much for you to see real well. If you find that your little coffee things are dried out too much for you to get the color that you're looking for, you can put just a couple drops of water back into it and mix it all up, and you'll be right back to getting that nice aged old look. And it's I don't like to use the distress ink a lot. It's starting to come out because it's all the same color, and you know, depending on the swirlies and everything on it, it just doesn't look good. So this way you've got a bunch of different shades and it's all over and it looks really antique. So that's the one tutorial that I wanted to get out there for you, so that if you wanted to do this before we get started on the tags, because that's where a lot of this comes into play, you can go to the website, go to the free tutorials, print these out, get your cup of coffee and let it cool off, and then stress them out with the coffee, the little coffee grounds, and let them dry. If they're a little bit wet, just let them dry. Make sure you brush them off real good and get all that stuff off of them. Even on the back it's dirty. And then be ready for the next tutorial where we're going to finish this up. We'll finish this page and we're going to do a couple of tags, and also Tim Holtz, one of the tags that I plan on doing, uses the sewing one that he has. So if you have that, go ahead and cut out a couple pieces of that. I'll also show you. Okay, so now we're just gonna finish up on these pages here. The only thing I did in between changing videos is I cut and pasted this. I think I'd already had finished, but I did this pocket here, and if you bought the tutorial book that goes along with this, this is an H pocket. And what I did with the H pocket, because this page is a little bit smaller than these bigger pages, which is the ones I think the original measurement was for, is before you attach it, before you do anything to it, make sure that it's gonna fit right here. And the only thing that you'll have to do to fix it is, let me get something out. This isn't an H pocket, this is just an extra pocket. Is make sure it's that size, and if it isn't, you just take this and you just fold it into wherever you need it to be to change it. Cut off the excess, and that will be your new size pocket. So real easy to fix if you want to place a pocket on a page that may be a little bit smaller than what the original size of the pocket was. So that's all I did here, was as I just cut my piece of paper on the outside a little bit smaller than my H pocket, distressed it, put it on, and then attached the pocket. So this is ready to go. I'm just going to do the decorating on the outside of the pocket real quick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stamp here, and I measured out where my stamp was going to go because I'm going to put an overlay over it, so I wanted to make sure that it would fit. You could see what I was putting on there. So let me just put some ink on this stamp, and then I have it set up so the top of my stamp is there. Since the book is bulky, this may not actually come up. Oh, it came up. Yay. So there's that. And then this is going to sit right over the top. There, just like that. So let's attach that. And I'm just going to use my favorite tool, my two-sided tape, on the edges. And put it right over the top. Make sure I line it up good. And there we go. Perfect. So now that pocket is decorated and ready. And we're going to work on this pocket here. And for this one, since I didn't get to show you, since I couldn't find my pencil in the other one, I have everything set up here now so I can show you how to do this. So here's my pocket. This is what came in the kit, and this I cut a square just a tiny bit smaller, so that's exactly the size that I want my paper to be. And then I just take this and I set it down on my paper, and then just trace it. And then wherever the line is, I take it to my cutter. I'll do this in front of this so you can see. This line isn't so good, but if you have one of these Fisker cutters, it's got a guideline on it. It's a little metal wire that goes right down the middle, so you can line up exactly on top of your pencil mark, and it will be a perfect cut. I'm going to get rid of the bottom. Okay, perfect. Except I just did it upside down. I'm going to get the hang of this eventually. That's okay, because the back is also patterned, so we can just use the back. All these pages go together very nicely. So I'm just going to distress out my edge on this one here to make sure everything is looking the same. So it's all distressed out, and I'm just going to attach it to my page, which I've already inked the edges of this page here. attach it to my paper because what I'm going to be putting on the outside of this pocket to decorate it has to go with the tag that I plan on making for the inside. And it's a little bit, lays over a little bit over the size of the outside of the pocket, so I want to attach it first. That way I can make sure I keep all my stuff I'm going to attach to the pocket good. So here's some of the things that I'm going to put on it. It's a little Sharps high grade, because this is going to be like a sewing theme on this one. And then I made this little, it's just one of those Valium sayings, and this is so charming. And what I did is I just took my sewing machine, which you obviously don't have to do this, especially if you don't have a sewing machine, but if you do, it's a really cute look, and all you do is just sew along the edges and attach it to the paper, rough up your edges, you can distress them with your ink, and this is what you get. And it's really cute, and this Valium is not coming off. No matter how hard you try, it's not coming off unless you rip it. And I'm just going to attach that onto my paper, because this one I want to go here. There we go. This I'm going to, I need to rough this up a little bit because it's not exactly the way I want it to be. This little tag, I believe, came from 7 Gypsies. I have a whole set of them, and I'm not sure where I got them all, but I think it's one of the 7 Gypsies tag collections that they have. They have some really cool stuff on their website. Okay, and then I'm going to just distress these edges real quick. There we go. Now this one I wanted to put up here above it. These are two-sided tags. This one is the side I wanted, and then there's a train on the other side which I did not want. And then just attach it right there. And I got this little pin, which I thought went along with this pretty well. And I'm just going to run this pin through the paper. And back down. And then later on, when I'm not taking up your video time, I'm going to take a little pop dot and I'm going to put it over the edge of that pin so it doesn't grab on anything underneath here. And then that way you won't have it poking anybody or anything that you happen to put into this pocket. That's cute right there. And then I've got some buttons I was going to put. Here's my little buttons. And I'm very picky about making sure that everything looks the same, and so I even distressed my buttons. I have people in my mini group who describe me as very detailed, which can be a bad thing sometimes because I rip things apart a lot when I don't think it looks right after I've finished it and start all over again, and it's very time consuming to be that obsessed about everything being perfect. Sometimes I just think it looks weird to have something where everything is antique-y looking, except then you have these great big bright embellishments all over it and it just doesn't look right. I'm just using, again, my little dots. Placing my buttons. There, perfect. So there's this side. So this pocket is now ready for my tag, which is what we're going to make right now. So on my website, if you went and got all the stuff and downloaded it and made it all old looking, you'll have things that kind of look like this. These are just a few of the things that are on the site. There's lots of them here to pick from. But the ones that I chose for today, for this tag, have set off to the side so I didn't mix them up. This tag is going to have the sewing theme on it. And this is the Tim Holtz set. It's these three things come together. And the only thing I did here that is I took some for embroidery and I just wrapped it around it. So that's attached. I put a little bit of embroidery thread here. And then for when you cut out your dies, you can layer up to, I don't know how many you can do exactly. I usually don't do more than 3 because I don't want to have to fussy cut to fix anything. But you can put 3 different layers on top of it and cut it all at the same time. So you can either do 3 at the same time, or you can, like for this, I just took my base paper, what I wanted to use for the little skirt, and a little, this is cut out from another die. It's just a lace trimmings. It's an edge die, and stacked them on top of each other, cut it out, and then just inked up my edges and stressed them out a little bit, tied a little ribbon around here, and that's all there is to this. This is another little piece that came in the printery kit. It came with a bunch of just stock stuff that's old, so I'll stress that out. And then these, I make my own tags. This is just chipboard, and then I just cut it to whatever size I want, put a little hole in it. This one happens to be 3 inches wide by 5 3/4 long. And then this is another one of my templates that I use for this tag, because I have this tag I use quite a bit. And so I'm going to cut out of here. I want it to be on this blue paper. So again, I'm just going to trace it. Take it to my cutter. This is just cutting along the long sides, and then trim up the rest. And rough it up a bit. Sounds worse than it is. There. Perfect. Put this on. Doesn't matter how hard I try, I still make a mess everywhere. And then this is going to attach right to here, just like this. First, though, I'm going to do my edges. When I'm doing my tags with a lot of pretty embellishments on one side, I never do the other side with anything exciting other than just putting some paper on it. And I'll leave it blank, so if somebody wants to use it to write on it, you know, journaling, whatever, it'll be decorated with paper, but it won't have anything else on it. He's really only looking at the one side. So I'm going to attach this one here. There. So here's the base of it. Very nice. And before I stick paper on the back, I'll take this, if you turn it over, you can see where your hole is and line it up, and then just make sure that you still have the hole. Because I don't have it finished right now, but the binding is what I'm going to use on here, but I need to dye it to this color that I want it to be. So that'll be, I'll show you how to do that too in another tutorial when I get to that part. Okay, so my little timer's going off to remind me to reset my video. And so let's finish this up here. Now for this one, I think I want to do something across as well, because I don't want it to be just one. I love layers. Layers are so pretty, and they make them so much more interesting to look at. So I'm going to make one more layer that's going to go over that one, kind of sideways, before I attach all that other stuff to it. And it's rayon binding, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dye it and scrunch it up, and it takes, I'll show you how to do it, but it takes like a day and a night process because everything has to dry, and it's kind of a long process, but in the end it looks so pretty, and it makes for really good bows and things that you're gonna, when you want to attach them, especially to the tags. So this is almost finished. It's me being picky again. And the more beat up it looks, the nicer it is to me. I like it that way. I like things, I call it perfectly imperfect. Okay, now this one I want to put at the top, like this, just to give it a little extra layer to it. And then we're going to just attach all this stuff. So this one is going to go probably there, looks like a good spot. Put some tape on the back. Put the big piece down first. I want it kind of sideways. Again with the picky. She is going to go here on this side because I want to be able to put my binding through my hole. So to the back side. And with this tape, you notice that sometimes I go over where it's actually sticking off the side. You can just roll it right off of anywhere that's sticking over. If you accidentally put tape, like over here, this stuff you just do this, and it rolls right off. It's easier than it looks. And then I just made that filthy because my hands are covered in dye. But that's okay, because I'm going to ink that up later anyway. So there's this piece here. Make sure it's good and stuck. Now I want to do my button. Again, I want to use my dots. This one, if I can see. There we go. And this one, I think I want to put, I'm thinking it's going to go up here, because when I put my ribbon here, I think it'll look real pretty when it falls right here on the side. Thinking ahead. And this is going to go tape right over it. Help keep that from unraveling on me. And I can set it about, if we do, I think I like it right there. There. So here's your tag. This is this one side that's finished, and I think that looks beautiful. And this is going to go sit in this pocket right here. Okay, perfect. And since this one goes on the outside, it doesn't matter if you have little pieces that are sticking up higher than the paper, because these are sticking out anyways. These things stick up, so anything that goes a little bit over the top is not a big deal. Pull off my extra tape right there. And once I have the binding on there, it's going to be perfect. There's that one is finished. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start on making one of your inserts for your your little photo inserts. So for this one, I picked out some paper that I thought was real pretty. I have this one here for this side, and then I'll have to cut this one down to size, but this is what the other side is going to be. And this is just a photo tag, and they sit inside these pockets. They just slide right in and hang out there. So you can put them in any pockets you want. You can move things around. This one I happen to make for this pocket here in the middle because I was going to make another tag for this pocket over here. So this one is designed to go in here, but before I cut it, I want to be sure that it's going to fit. Yeah, it'll fit fine. So let's cut this one up. Now the photo mat that I'm using here is 5 by 5.5. So I've cut these pieces here to fit in the middle. So I'm just going to ink up the edges of the mat itself. Like so. And for the photo mats, because this is a 5 by 5.5, whatever picture gets put in here is obviously going to have to be cut to fit on these mats, because these aren't your standard size. If you want to, because I didn't include any mats other than the ones that go in the pockets on the top. I didn't include any of these in your kit because I don't know what size photos you want to use this for. If you want to do the standard 4 by 6, then you're going to want to make your mat big enough for 4 by 6, or if you want to do the 3 by 5 or whatever, you know, sizes you decide that you want to make your photos for is how you're going to determine the size of your photo mat. I just make generic sizes, and this is my album for me, so I'm just going to use my digital, you know, I have my digital camera and my printer, and I'm going to print out the sizes that I want for my photos, for my photo mat. So I'm going to just rough up the edges on the mat itself. Now, the things that I just cut that are going to go attached to that, I'm going to cut the corners into it so that my photo can just slide right into the corners. So there's no adding anything extra to this. So this is a real simple mat. And just, I like the corners because it takes a lot less to put your photos into it. You just chop it to the size you want and stick them in the corners. I have a couple different corners. I don't know what they're called exactly, what the technical term for them is. But the one I like the most is the one that you're going to see me use here in just a second. So here we have, these are all roughed up. And I'm going to put my little ink on my edge. This is the size I want to use. And the reason why I don't put another mat on top of this is because I picked paper that is real pretty to see just by itself without having anything put over the top of it. But sometimes if I'm layering a lot, I'll do like, this would be the actual photo mat, just like it's going to be right now, but there'll be another layer in between this and this. But now I want it to be like this, so this is the way I'm going to keep it. And I want to put a little tab on the top. And Tim Holtz Tiny Tags and Tabs is what I have. And so I'm going to put a little one. See, I've already cut some of them out. And some paper. I'm just going to pick some of these that I like. I like that one. Oh, and I like that one. And then I'm just going to stick them to this with my glue. Hopefully it's not dried up. This glue right here clogs up pretty easily. But man, is this good glue. You have to be kind of quick though, because it dries fast. And once it's dried, the only way you're going to get your paper off is to rip it. You'll ruin the paper. You can't take it off once you get it on there. Let's see, is my other side? And I'm putting this on first because I'm not sure exactly how low it's going to go. So I want my photo mat to be on top of this, not the other way around. And then I'm going to glue it. To the mat. There. And while that's drying, here's the corner. This is a photo corner, and you just put your little paper in there and you just push it, and it gets stuck, so I have to pull it out this way. But what this does is it makes this little corner edge right here, so when you slide your picture in, it just slides in like that. So when you don't have it decorated, it just is a pretty picture, but when you put your photo in there, you can put it right in, and there you go. So I do all the corners. For one of the swaps that I just did, I actually cut these corners out and just attached them without putting any mat down. I just put the corners because it was a chipboard album. I'll have to ask her how it worked out when she gets the album. Why are you not coming up? There we go. Then to attach it to here, you can glue or tape or however you want to do it, just in between the corners. You don't want to glue anywhere near the corners or tape, or else your photo isn't going to obviously go through. It'll get stuck. So you want to just go in between them and leave these corners unattached. It's also a pain in the neck to put the photo in. If you put any type of glue or anything on these little corners right here, boy is it a pain to put your photo in, because you can't lift them to help set the photo in where it's supposed to go. Little tip if you get one of these. That is not in the middle. There we go. You want these to be like this. And we're going to do the corners on the other one on the back side. The only thing about this one that I don't like is that it gets caught. And you have to push it out with your finger from the back. Or else if you try to pull it out, you'll just rip it. And this one. Do it again. Come out. And tape. First time I saw this tape gun was at a scrapbook convention in Anaheim, and at the time I saw it and I'm like, I'll probably never use that, and I didn't buy it at that time. And then it was on sale somewhere and I picked one up, and now I wouldn't go without it if my life depended on it. So here it is. Here's your mat. Real pretty, looks nice, fits into this pocket right here. Just when you put your stuff in, because of your corners, you want to lift this pocket a little bit before you stick it in there. And there we are. So this is the end of video 3, and when you come back for video 4, we'll be doing the pull-out mats, which are these here. We'll be finishing up these. Hopefully I'll be able to have the tutorial done for the ribbon that we're going to use on this. I'll have the back already finished by then. It's just going to have a piece of paper on it. And that will be what's coming up. So I will see you then, and I hope you have fun creating.